Well, hello and welcome to the Matchbook Betting Exchange Greyhound Racing podcast. Of course, we are looking at all things Matchbook Betting Exchange Irish St. Ledger from Limerick. It will be live on Racing Post Greyhound Television on Saturday night. There'll also be a bumper crowd, including the Lily White Assassin will be there. I bumped into you, Dylan, on Tuesday night. You were at our Talking Dogs Roadshow. We were down in Limerick looking forward to the big race itself. And, still looking forward to it. It's pretty cold over here, but hopefully they'll have the covers down until close to racing. Plenty of salt in the track. Should be fine. And hopefully all will go to plan.
Yeah, in fairness, I thought it'd be a lot more meetings cancelled as the day went on, but credit to everyone involved. I know, I think Limerick are confident enough of it all going ahead as well, which is great. So, fingers crossed, the temperatures get a bit better. It's fairly cold, but no, credit to everyone. Look, it'll be a great night. Cracking final, wide open. I didn't think it could be as open as what it is. Even before the semi-finals, I looked at it, and as you know, after talking to me Tuesday night, I was struggling, and I'm still struggling a bit. Come down on one or two maybe of prices, but it's a cracking final, wide open, and you couldn't rule any of them out, to be fair.
You certainly can't rule any of them out. 6 wonderful greyhounds, no question about it. The beauty of it is on Racing Post Greyhound Television. This is when an exchange comes into its own, when you're getting the build-up to each of the races on the undercard. The whole card will, of course, be on Matchbook Betting Exchange. There'll be plenty of liquidity there, well worth your while getting involved. And well, whatever prices we're talking about now, Dylan, they'll be very different come the off with the exchange, because you don't know what way people are going to go. There'll be dogs that, Bobsleigh Dream is in around 5 to 4, 6 to 4 at present. Like, she could be 2 to 1, 9 to 4 at the off. She could be 4 to 5 for all we know. And then as a result, something else will take a walk in the market. There'll be dogs you're thinking of backing now at 6 and 7 to 1. That could be 8, 10, 12 to 1 on the night. So maybe hold your power, keep your powder dry if you're not backing one of the more trendy greyhounds. And of course, don't forget, if you are new to Matchbook, you can sign up and using the code INSIGHTS30, free sign-up offer. £30 welcome offer. Money back is a free bet if your first bet loses. Can't do fairer than that, Dylan. Have it in the first. You never know. We might roll it up. Could be a monkey by the end of racing. But great racing to look forward to throughout the night. We might touch upon one or two dogs that we fancy in the undercard a little bit later, Dylan. But for the moment, let's look at the final. And we'll take a look at the lineup, because it's a quality lineup. We said, I think prior to the semi-finals, like it was going to be tough to make a decision on what to back in the outright market until you see the draw. We intimated that if Bobsleigh Dream drew the inside, she'd be fairly hard to beat. Now, that's exactly where she's drawn. She's in trap 1. She's there at 6 to 4 at present. As I said, it's very early in the week. Those prices will change dramatically over the next 2 to 3 days. But she's a worthy favourite, Dylan. But there is a point where, there is a point with every dog, of course, given their price, where she might get too short or she might get too big. And it's a case of, where do you draw that line?
Yeah, it's funny because like that, I thought if he drew the fence in the final, I thought there's your winner. But the more you look into it, it's far from, it's not that easy at all. I think the thing you have to think about with her too is, as strong as she is and as brilliant as she's been throughout the competition, and she has been absolutely superb every night, even the night she was beaten. She's been absolutely brilliant. But you have to remember, she's probably going to be going into that opening bend closer last than first. If, you look at the dogs in there, the early pace, and she wouldn't have the pace of some of them early on. So you're going to need luck with her. You're going to have to hope that the gaps appear. And look, there's no doubt if she gets a run with the sectional she's coming home in, she'll be very, very hard to hold. But like I say, if you're going to take a short price about her, it's going to be far from plain sailing. That's for sure. She's going to need the break. She's going to need luck. She is the right favourite, but I think she's short enough. I think she's a bit shorter than what I have her now.
What is her price, Dylan? Like that's the mark we're trying to find. I tend to agree with you. When I first saw it, I went, God, she'd be 5 to 4. You know what I mean? If Trinity Junior had been drawn in trap 2 instead of 3, she'd be odds on. But the fact of the matter is, you think about it, she's not going to be in front into the corner. Like there is a dive into the bend with 2 or 3 of the dogs. Even 6 on the outside, Mustang Jet will cut towards the fence on the opening corner. So it could get very tight. And if she's actually too close to the running, it could be the worst thing for her. While if she's that length further back, then when the crowding happens, she could slip through. And it's very feasible. She could turn second, third into the back straight. And if that happens, well, then all of a sudden you're looking at the even money or 11-8 that, that was your initial thought going, God, maybe that's her price. But if she doesn't get that gap, she goes from being a 6-4 chance to a 3-1 chance pretty quickly.
Yeah, and the more I look at it, I can see trouble. I can see crowding. We'd all love it to be everything pops out and gets a clear run, but it just doesn't happen. And like you say, with the funny thing is that the only wide runner in the race could well end up in on the rail at the first corner. That's the way he runs the bend. And I was going through it again last night and looking at the sectionals to the bend. You are going to them early pacers, there's not going to be much between them on the corner. And like you say, if Mustang Jet is going to cut the bend, that's just what he does. And there's crowd on the inside. It's just, unfortunately, we don't know who's going to come out of it best. This is the thing, if that crowding happens, who's going to come out of it best. That's why I kind of gave a small squeak. I think you said Tuesday night that it's hard to see where Anna Bailey gets a run. I think he could be the type of dog, he could be better off running his line. He might get a run around the outside of him, just like he did in the semi-final the other night. But look, it's so tough to, like you say, when you're trying to find the winner of it, or you're trying to find something to have a bet on. I think the reason I'm struggling so much is because the more I look at it, all I can see is crowding. All I can see is crowding on the inside between the early pacers. And like you say, then it's all about luck. Then what's going to come out of it best. It's your guess is as good as mine, sort of thing. But
yeah.
It's
like Mike Tyson used to say about, like, we all have a plan going into a fight until you get punched in the face. Like, we can talk about this final being wide open and all the various possibilities until something takes an absolute screamer from traps and finds itself 3 in front in the corner when there's traffic, and all of a sudden it's clear and forget about it. Unassailable lead, and that's the way it's going to happen. And it is one of those types of finals because there are 2 or 3 dogs in the middle there, the likes of Weekend Dream, Trinity Jr., who hasn't quite hit the lids yet, but has shown loads of early speed. He flew into the corner last week to clip the heels of Mustang Jet. Mustang Jet himself, we haven't even mentioned Romeo Magico, the English Derby champion. He's capable of flying to a corner. His issue is that first stride, getting away on terms. If he came away on terms, there's every possibility he'd be bang there, maybe even in front of the opening corner. And then Anna Bailey, as you say, I don't see him leading around the corner, but I see where you're coming from. If he's a length behind Mustang Jet and Mustang Jet cuts straight across the corner, he all of a sudden could find himself in a lovely position on the outside of a crowd of greyhounds that are find themselves getting each other's way. So yeah, there are claims to be made for each and every one of them. Outside of Bobsleigh Dream, did you find any value with the remainder?
I actually thought Weekend Dream had a squeak, to be honest. I thought he was plenty big enough. He's well drawn. You go back to the early sectionals, he's setting the standard. Mustang Jet sets the standard to the third corner. I think he did a 17, 18, 720 in the earlier rounds. But on the run up, Weekend Dream was going up. He's dipped under 530 twice, 529, 525. If he does that again, I can't see it leading him. And
he should get to the fence. Like he should really lead Bobsleigh Dream.
I think he will. And the thing with him is, you talk about Mustang Jet. I've always looked at Mustang Jet. I think he's loads of early. He flies down the back. Don't think he's the greatest trapper. Now, he hit the lid the other night, but will he back it up is the question. You talk about Trinity Jr. He's been showing loads of pace up, but he's not coming away. So he's going to have to trap if he's a clear Weekend Dream. I just thought it's there in black and white in front of you. I think Weekend Dream he's been pinging every night so far. He may well go and miss it in the final. That's normally the way these things happen when you've got dogs pinging every week. But he's the one for me. I think he could easily nip around in front. And if Mustang Jet's going up second and he cuts the corner, like you say, if something gets loose in the front end, I think if something is going to get loose in the front end, I think it'll be Weekend Dream. I think Mustang Jet might pace up well on his outside. Cut across, might be a bit of trouble behind. I just thought at the prices he was big. I thought he was big enough as well. And Anna Bailey, he ropes me in every single night. He is a talented greyhound. He's not the best away. He's got good all around pace. But again, I can see him getting a run out wide. So I think they're actually the two outsiders, and I actually thought there was a bit of value with the two of them. I thought there was a good case to be made for both of them. But yeah, I think Weekend Dream is plenty big enough given the way he's been trapping and that. If he continues that, he could easily lead around, and if you're in front, they have to pass you.
Yeah, I was writing my preview today for Racing Post and a couple of other places, and like that, as I was speaking about each dog, you're sort of working it out in your head. How can they win the race? And Weekend Dream's path to glory is a lot easier than a lot of the remainder, including Bobsleigh Dream, where we're talking about she has to not come away well enough that she's too close to them and that she gets pinched on the fence. She needs to miss the kick, then find a clear passage around the corner where there does look like to be crowding before getting a run at them into the back straight. Even then, if she arrives at the third bend at the wrong time, she could get pinched up again. Whereas Weekend Dream, you know what happens if you're backing him. If you've backed Weekend Dream, your fate after 5 yards in terms of whether he can win or not. If he hits the lids and gets to the front, he can certainly win. If he misses the kick, forget about it. He's not coming from behind these. And the same could be said for probably Trinity Junior, Mustang, Jet, even Romeo Magico to a sense. Trinity Junior, I'll hold my hands up. He's my little sneaky each way play earlier in the competition. I'd take the 4th place finish now if I could take it. But at the same time, there is a way for him to win the final. And it's similar enough to the Weekend Dream. Get to the front early, perhaps a bit of traffic in behind. I don't think we've seen the best of Trinity Junior. And it is worth pointing out that during the competition, I have no question, there's no doubt in my mind Romeo Magico had a touch of the cough or something along those lines.
Yeah, he's
completely dipped in the middle. Last week's run was much better. And Dolores Ruth has admitted that Mustang Jet had the cough. Now, he's after coming out of it. There's a video of him on Facebook. If anyone wants to take a look at Dolores Ruth's Facebook page, he's doing zoomies around the yard. So he's absolutely right as rain. Romeo Magico looks right as rain. I think Pat Guilfoyle hinted about Weekend Dream. A few of his kennel companions have had it. But he hasn't. He has that little bit more age on his side. Doesn't tend to affect the older greyhounds as much as the younger ones. So, it is worth keeping in mind. I saw Bobsleigh Dream myself. I was petting her on Tuesday afternoon in Pat Buckley's place. She looked just amazing. Her coat was gleaming. You'd swear you'd given her a bath in olive oil. She was that shiny. She's just so well in herself. She was after getting the feed and she was contented and happy. And yeah, I think she's ready to run a race. So I'm sure that's the case with all 6 of them. But just keep that in mind that we've heard nothing to suggest that Trinity Junior had a touch of the cough or anything like that. But it's that time of year and it is going around. So just don't be surprised if you see a dog raising their efforts or raising their game in the final on Saturday night. You're not going to nail your colours to one, but those are the 2 at prices for you: the Weekend Dream and Anna Bailey.
Yeah, look, I'm on Romeo Magico anti-post, all in, no each way crack, all in on the nose. So there's only one result I want if he's going to win. But like you said, we're talking about him there, and he's probably the dog we haven't mentioned a lot of, and he's an English Derby winner, and he's 7-2, 4-1 in the bet.
Oh, I'm getting there. But yeah, go on anyway.
No, he is. Look, the funny thing is, I was quite happy with the bet after the first round. Second round, third round, I wasn't. I thought, that's money down the drain. And all of a sudden last week, like you say, it was just...
He was better in the quarterfinals than he had been the week before.
But last
week again, we saw a different dog again.
And he slowly stepped forward. The night he won, where he held on from Buckles Buds, that was, even though he won, that was the big... I couldn't believe it. That was the one night I missed, and one of the lads texted me to say, "Oh yeah, he won." And I got home that night and I checked the result and I seen he won by a short head, and I thought, God, he must have got up on the line, and didn't look at any remarks. Got up the next morning, threw on the video, and here he is in front in the corner, and I thought, what's after happening here, But like you say, he's progressed. He's took a step forward after that, but I thought last week was a massive step forward. I thought with the Romeo Magico of old, the real Romeo Magico, the pace to the third bend, he didn't have it all his own way. And we've said it about him before, he's turned into a real man, and if he's in the middle of them going to the corner, you can be sure he's going to absolutely drive that bend too. So look, I'd be more than happy to be on him anti-post at 10s, but I do think the other two outsiders, I could make a good case for them. And you have to remember too that the one defeat Bobsleigh Dream suffered in the competition was to the hands of Weekend Dream. So
You're clinging to that straw anyway.
yeah, well, look, it just goes to show you, when you're trying to make a case for a dog, it happened before, it can happen again. He got out on the front end that time, Bobsleigh Dream got held up behind. It could well happen again Saturday night, but it's just a cracking find. I tell you the truth, I don't think I've ever looked at a race as much and just could not put my finger on something. I struggle so much,
It's like that. The more you look at it, the more you get confused. I'm going to make my case for Romeo Magical. I have tipped up Bobsleigh Dream in the paper tomorrow. That's going to be tipped up in the Racing Post tomorrow, Bobsleigh Dream, and for obvious enough reason. She's in flying form. She's got the draw. She's a worthy favourite. Yada yada yada. If I had to have a bet, Romeo Magico at 4-1 is too big for me. I think he's a 3-1 chance. When it comes down to it, he is the class animal in the contest. He's an English Derby champion. Some would say he was very unlucky not to win the Easter Cup this year. Ran up the backside of Susie Sapphire at the third bend, showing outstanding speed and outstanding pace. And I know I've mentioned the cough. If indeed he did have it, and the rumours are that he did, they often come out of it even in better form than they were prior to it. He did a 29.28 in Cork prior to the Ledger, looked as good as ever, if not better. And I just wouldn't be surprised if we saw the real Romeo Magico stand up on Saturday night and put a big run in. In terms of having a bet in the race, he'd be the one that'd be interested to me, because I'm not backing Bobsleigh Dream at 6-4. Simple as that. Romeo Magico at 4-1. I think that's big. If I thought he would trap on terms, I'd make him a 7-4 chance. The problem is it's that first stride. That's the issue with Romeo Magico, no question about it. Listen, there's no dog I'd put anyone off. The one dog I am struggling to make a case for is Anna Bailey. We've discussed it, but again, I can see a situation where he does find a nice clear run around the outside, but that's contingent on him missing Mustang Jet in the early yards and Mustang Jet getting that linked on him. But no, a wonderful find to look forward to. So you're nominating two of the outsiders, Weekend Dream and Anna Bailey, for anyone who wants to nibble, and I'm going to recommend Romeo Magico at 4-1. For me, I just think the price is too big. It's very much a watching brief, though. If you can't really find an angle, it's one of those races where you could just watch it along, because there's plenty of other races on the card that you can get stuck into. Speaking of which, let's talk about some of the undercard races. Anything that catches the eye. Obviously, Pat Buckley has a couple of star names, including Balnabula Ed. He won't be making anybody rich. Flashing Willow is an interesting one in the sprint. He'll need to be doing everything right. He's an exceptional sprinter, but Serene Ace is not going to make life easy for him. That's a hell of a contest between the pair.
Yeah, I can't wait for that. And then to add a bit of spice, we've got Gary Vaugeot and well drawn on the inside.
I just can't see him as a sprinter, and I don't think he wants this to be necessarily to be in there. But I agree with you. I think he's a hell of a dog for next year.
Yeah, no, I don't either. I couldn't. I wouldn't fancy him, but he is. He's a really good dog. He's got a nice bit of early, but showing a nice bit of early in them 4-bend races is this is going to be a different ball game. You're coming up, for me, they're the two best sprinters in the country.
Yeah, there are dogs in that race, actually, like the bottom two in the race, and even the 4 dog to a certain extent, even though he's a Fair Warrior finalist. Like, there's dogs in that race that could touch 50 on the exchange, if not bigger. I wouldn't give the bottom two a life.
Yeah, well, I'm with you. I have down here on the card the bottom 3, actually. I can't have them. I just think, look, like I said, Serene Ace, Flash and Willow for me are the two best sprinters in the country. They're remarkably quick to the corner. The thing with Flash and Willow is he's going to have to out-trap Serene Ace. It's all at boxes, and these sprints are the whole time, but I'm really looking forward to that. I think that's going to be a cracking race. It's a really good undercard. Even the 5-5 was there last week. Galloping Sydney and Stream of Sydney both trialled one after the other. I was really impressed with Stream of Sydney, actually. Moved really well.
She's very strong. Pat Buckley likes her. She looked in good nick the other day.
She is.
She wants probably further than 5-5, whereas Galloping Sydney's a real speedster, perfectly housed in the fence. Yeah,
he's perfectly housed, and I think he leading the race, but I think there's a chance. I think Stream of Sydney she's a different bitch around Limerick. I know she won an A3 stake there, and you look at what she's doing now, and you'd say, well, obviously she had plenty of grades in hand, but she's 4 from 4 at Limerick, including her trial the last day. What's on her card? She's got 5 4-bend runs on her card, and she's dipped under 28.30 in 3 of them.
Yeah.
So I could see her. I think if she can turn second, and I think she might. I think she'd pick up Gallup and Sydney, to be honest, and I think she'd probably going to be a bit of value in the race with the top. I'd say he'd be short enough given the draw and everything. It's a really good card.
There's a brilliant 6-bend race. The 6 top class stayers in it. Obviously, Dana Point is coming back from a long layoff. I think she's had a litter of pups. Could be wrong, but it'll be very much between the bottom 4, who are probably getting sick of each other at this stage. Jack Tavern Bella, Pablo Escobar, Hello Hammond, Magical Poppy thrown in there for good measure. It's, while it is a stayers race, a lot will depend on what gets loose in the early yards. Just given the fact that it's cold conditions, I just wouldn't be surprised if Jack Tavern Bella ran very well again. Hello Hammond just couldn't quite go home in the very cold conditions in Shelburne last time out.
Yeah, I like Jack Tavern Bella too, actually. A few bobbing in Shelburne last night. She's likeable. She stays really well. But like you say, that's really open. I know that they run against each other plenty, but any one of them can beat the other one on any given day. Like you said, it's kind of plenty of luck and run and what's going to pop out, what's going to get a clear run. Magical Poppy's been a little bit disappointing, but
I think she just wants things her own way.
I was just going to say she
wants
capable.
Things her own way at the head of affairs. If she did happen to hit the lids and get around in front, they probably wouldn't see which way she went.
Yeah, I was going to say she's been a bit disappointing, but she's that type of bitch, and she's capable of flashing out. She's taken some absolute flyers, even this year. And if she gets on the bunny, she's capable of a massive run too, as we've seen plenty before. I'd probably side with Jack Tavern Bella. It would probably be a bit of value in the race too, I think.
Yeah, I've tipped her up tomorrow. You'll be happy to hear. I'm putting
the 600. I was quite intrigued by the 600. Magical Mary kind of disappointed me a little in the ledger a couple of times, probably twice. I was a bit disappointed with her, but I think she's got a really good chance of leading. And I think, again, a little bit like Magical Poppy, I think if she's on the bunny, she's a different lady. Yeah. She's got an 18:38 sprint around Limerick, so I'd imagine if she comes away level, I wouldn't say there's much now that'll lead her up.
I took a chance. I took a chance with Barefoot Supremo in that race. I was so impressed with him the last night at Shelburne Park. That 30.84 in Shelburne the last night, you can take 20 off that. That's 6 spots off the clock or 5 spots off the clock. It was just the last race of the night, really cold. Track wasn't bouncing. Thought it was a hell of a run from him, so he's clearly in good form. But I agree with you, Magical Mary. She's an absolute airplane, especially when she gets on the bunny. That's another cracking race to look forward to. All in all, great night's racing at Limerick. You'll be there, Dylan.
Yeah, I'll be there. Looking forward to it. Not looking forward to the cold weather, but the racing won't be long about warming you up. Just to mention as well about our Racing Post TV showing the open race in the car.
They're showing the first 10 races. So they're not showing the last 2 races, but they're showing the first 10 races.
It's probably not the most glamorous affair. It's an A4 final, but the 3-dog in a Hazel Hill dress, I thought ran really well last week in her semi-final. She was beaten, but she showed loads of pace in defeat. I think she'll probably win tomorrow night. And she'd probably be my bet on the card, actually. Like I said, it's not the most glamorous races on the card, but I think she might be, she's around 2-1, 9-4. I think she's a good bet.
As a fellow once said, Dylan, a winner is a winner. Doesn't matter what grade it's in. And for those tuning in, watching Racing Post Television on Saturday night, Matchbook Betting Exchange will be offering prices in all 10 live races on Racing Post Greyhound Television. Should be great coverage, a great night's racing. And again, the final of the Matchbook Betting Exchange Irish St. Ledger will be very much the feature. Before we go, again, Insights 30 is the signing up bonus. If you want to, that welcome offer, £30 money back as a free bet if your first bet loses. But let's not think that way. Have your £30 on and hopefully it'll be a winner. That's it from us, though, on this. What are we talking now? We're talking Friday evening, Dylan. Not long now before the final of the Matchbook Betting Exchange Irish St. Ledger. Don't get up to too much mischief. Try and back a few winners, Dylan. Best of luck to it.
You too. Take care, Ian.
Well, that's it again from us at the on the Matchbook Betting Exchange Greyhound Racing Podcast. We'll see you next time.